Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Faster Masters Rowing Radio. I'm Rebecca Caro, and today I'm delighted to welcome as my guest Hannah Broadland. Hannah, welcome.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to be
Now,
here.
yeah, Hannah, you're an athlete, and you're also working in rowing at the moment.
Yeah, so I like to think of myself as an athlete, but primarily I am a coxswain, so wherever you fit that in. And I also have been working for the San Diego Crew Classic for almost 2 years now.
Are you still coxing yourself?
Yes, so I was at the Senior World Championships this past summer, and I'm still training with that team. And I'm hoping to make the team with them again this coming summer for the World Championships. And I also spent a couple months at Leander, which was very fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I lived in the boathouse, and it was a great experience. So definitely still coxing a lot.
Yeah, you will have learned a lot about coxing on a bendy river with a bit of stream as well if you were
Oh,
training
yeah.
on the Thames.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I learned all about stroke side, bow side, easy there, lots of different
But the
calls.
right words.
Yeah.
We had a great conversation online in a chat room the other day as who invented the phrase pick drill? That's a really good question, and no one had the answer.
I don't have the answer to that either.
Yeah. We all do it, but only the North Americans have a name for it.
So you guys don't have you just call it like the progression or?
We call it warming up from the back, or
Okay,
yeah, kind of
yeah.
let's go through our warm up. Yeah, we genuinely don't call it. Each individual stage has a name, obviously, but yeah, different at different parts of the world.
True.
So, how long ago did you do your first San Diego Crew Classic?
Ooh, my first San Diego Crew Classic it was 2016, and it was with my high school rowing team. And it was like, it's always a bloodbath for the San Diego Crew Classic because everybody wants to go. It's like, aside from our championships, it's like the biggest, most fun race we could go to. So I remember I was competing against a lot of coxswains, but they also brought in like masters eights that we could cox as well, just to give more opportunities to get people racing experience. So my first time going to the San Diego Crew Classic, I was actually with a masters crew, and it was my first time coxing a masters crew for a race, and it was super fun. And cut to now I raced in the Masters A event last year, and we're putting together a boat for it this year at the San Diego Crew Classic. So has been some of my most fun races has been with Masters crews.
And which town or rowing club are you racing with?
In high school it was Capital Crew that trained out of Lake Natoma in Gold
Yeah.
River. So that's where I grew up. And then now when I'm not coxing for the US and since I'm not in college anymore, I train out of San Diego Rowing Club.
Good. So your master's crew is a local crew.
Yeah, I like to stay local, you know.
I have a feeling that because it's the first big 2K regatta after the winter, everybody's kind of, we call it demob happy, or like, yay, they let us out and finally
Yeah.
the winter is over.
Horses out of the stable for sure. That's what I feel like is one of the reasons why the Crew Classic is so fun, because everybody's like, all right, most of us haven't touched a boat in a long time, and now we're just gonna rip a 2K out of nowhere. So let's just enjoy the sun and relax while we can.
So give us some quick tips from a coxswain's point of view for this precise regatta.
Okay, so the main things that come to mind when it comes to coxing at the San Diego Crew Classic is the two portions of the race where the bridges will open up on the coxswain's left side. So that would be the port side or the stroke side. Um, so it opens up in the first about 200 meters and then again after about 1K. So when those bridges open up, when that channel opens, and you'll get hit with a lot of gusts of wind from that direction. And just in general, unless you have a really early race, be expecting some windier, choppier water. Coastal rowing is a thing that we're bringing back. So San Diego Crew Classic can help prepare you for that in some ways. But I'd say in general, like, especially for people traveling to race here, be aware of the course, know where the wind gets stronger and things like that. But just, I've always thought that the top priority for the San Diego Crew Classic is like, that's where I fell in love with rowing. And that's where you should just, if you're getting the opportunity to travel to San Diego to race, like, just enjoy being there. It's a magical place. There's a lot of love and work that goes into this regatta. And like, we just hope that everybody gets to experience like what I experienced when I went to my first San Diego Crew Classic.
So, what are the calls you use for your crew when you're getting those gusts of wind? What
I
do you
like to
have to
just
do?
prepare them, give them like a couple strokes to let them know that it's coming, and then after that, like, I feel like it is just super unique to each crew. And so I'll have some boats that like they don't really like to hear about things like that because they can kind of throw off their calmness and their relaxation, whereas other people like to know all of the information. So it just depends on who I'm working with. But I do like to just give people a couple strokes of a warning. Hey, coming up here, we're going to get a gust from the port side, starboard sides. Let's keep our hands nice and tall and let's all get our catches in.
I like that. That is very good to tell them exactly what will stabilize the boat.
Yeah.
Now, working at the San Diego Crew Classic, what do you do?
So when I was brought onto the team, I was mainly doing their marketing and their media. So I was doing some social media posts and their newsletters. And so I'm still working on the writing end of that. I'll make content for newsletters and like different vendors we have and such. But Megan Calmo was recently brought in, and she is just like really good at the social media content stuff. So she's kind of taken over that role. And in that time, that's when I joined the senior team. So I've had to like allocate a lot more time to it and move out of San Diego. So I have transitioned to be now I'm doing marketing and I'm doing the newsletters, but one of my main roles is coordinating all of the volunteers because we'll have like between 200 and 400 volunteers every year. So it's a big job, but it's fun because I get to meet people in the community.
It's a very big job and fantastic experience because, trust me, regatta organization is something that is a real art form. And when it's done well, it's nobody notices it. And when it's not,
Yeah, no, definitely. That's one of those things that you just like you don't realize everything that goes into planning it, but you only notice when it doesn't go right.
now the regatta this year has some new events. So could you just run us through a preview of what to expect?
Yeah, so this is going to be our first year having masters quads, which will be super exciting. We actually were only going to have one heat of women's quads and men's quads, but there was so many people signed up that we opened up a second batch for the women's quads, and we also are going to be having our first round of mixed intermediate masters eights. So that is going to be just the way that boat qualification works is just a maximum of 4 male identifying athletes. And so it's just going to open up racing opportunities for everybody. And we're really excited.
And of course, intermediate is people who have learned to row since the 1st of January 2018. And
Yes. Yeah.
that's, you're a world first there. I want to raise a hand to salute you because it's one of the things that I've been working on for a while is there are structural issues inside how rowing works as a sport that make it not very favorable for newcomers. And one of the biggest challenges is after your novice year as a master, you're immediately thrown into age group racing. And you could be racing Megan Calmo, just to pick a name out of
Yeah.
the hat. And you've been rowing for 1 year and she's been to the Olympics several times, so
Yeah.
it's a great thing that you guys have taken on this intermediate category.
Thank you. Yeah. And we agree that's kind of the purpose of adding all of these the quads, the mix, the intermediate is just to open up racing opportunity for everybody, especially at like a race like the San Diego Crew Classic that's so early on in the spring season. Like, we just want everybody to enjoy themselves for a weekend.
Now, remind people what is the date of the regatta?
It's running from March 31st to April 2nd. And that's another first for this year. It's our first year that we're going to have Friday racing. So on Friday, we have our alumni, we're going to have our Masters A, and I believe the quads as well.
That is going to be so exciting. And of course,
Super
it is on
fun.
so many people's bucket list.
Yeah, definitely. It was on mine as like a 16-year-old. So
Well, I wish you all the best for this year's regatta. And thank you so much for coming and giving us your wonderful coxing insights, because that can only come from someone who's actually done it.
thank you so much, Rebecca. It was very fun to be on the show. Thank you for having us.
And next year, everybody, get it in your calendars early and put in your entries, because it sounds like the competition for entries is pretty high.
Yeah, no, it definitely gets filled up fast, and there's no other way to start your spring season than at the San Diego Crew Classic. So, and registration closes on March 13th. So we still have a little bit of time if you do want to register if the event isn't filled up yet.
Oh, that's wonderful to know. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on this. This has been a rather quick episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio, but we are extremely excited to be leading the change in Masters Rowing, particularly with partners like the San Diego Crew Classic. And I wish everybody who's racing all the best. I've been